Hey everybody, GravyTrain here with another episode of Gravy Training. So, just getting back into making video content again, and of course, I made a blunder. I just recorded this whole deck intro or deck tour video and forgot the audio, or I had muted my microphone. So, I'm going to do this again pretty quickly. I'm going to run through just the deck explanation and a trial game against a bot just to show you guys how the deck works, get you familiar with it, and then I'll have a follow-up video that is ladder play using this deck. So this one is called Toxic Rush. It's blue and green. Mana base is pretty straightforward. Got islands, forests, bark channel pathway to give me that flexibility to kind of go either way. I don't have a lot of other lands in here because I don't want to put tap lands and all that. This needs to be fast. It's an aggro deck. So that's it. The deck is based around, it's a toxic mechanic, which toxic is, for those of you that aren't familiar, means that for every rank of toxic that a creature has, you get, when they do combat damage to a player, they get that many poison tokens. If a player gets 10 poison tokens, they lose the game. And that's the same in any format right now. Maybe it'll change, who knows. But this is based around toxic, getting small creatures through with toxic values and making them unblockable. So they have power or toughness less than 1. I go with power less than 1 because I'm not really worried about the damage I deal. I'm more worried about dealing the toxic. So this is kind of the linchpin. This is the other linchpin. Big thing about this character, or this card, is that it's a single green. It's a real cheap casting cost. Get them out right away. Toxic 1. And then whenever a Pheresis Roach deals combat damage to a player, all insects I control in my library, my graveyard, my hand, in play, perpetually gain Toxic 1. Perpetually means that they gain that value for the remainder of the game, regardless of if they are in my hand, in play, in the graveyard, in exile, anything like that. They maintain that change. So it's like a permanent buff to the card. And Toxic is additive. So this creature already has Toxic 1. If it gets 2 instances of Toxic 1, it's got Toxic 2 then. So it'll give 2 poison counters, etc. So obviously then I've got some other insects, not a ton, but I do have some other insects in here. I've got, for example, this one, which gains me a little bit of life on a landfall trigger. Not too big a deal, but it is an insect. It is a 1 power. So this one is just a 2 casting cost, real cheap, gets through as long as I have Umezawa on the field. Another one, same thing, 1/1 flying toxic. It's a blue-green. But when it deals combat damage to a player, a random card in their hand that's not a land perpetually gains. When they cast a spell, they get a poison counter. So it can be their turn, they cast a spell, they get the poison counter just for casting it. So it's like a delayed sort of extra. Additionally, I go with the Venerated Rot Priest, which is a 1 green with Toxic 1, 1/2 on the power and toughness. But whenever a creature I control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. That could be somebody using removal, or it can be me using enchantments or instants. So, for example, I have some card draw cards here. This one here, Combat Research. Whenever I deal combat damage to a player, I draw a card. This one gives them just that little bit of toughness. It's 0+2 or +0+2. And then I can basically cycle a card, draw a card, discard a card. So that's my cheap ones. I've got Ether Tunnel, which makes a creature unblockable. Doesn't matter its power or toughness. And then the other thing that I focus on is Proliferate. So proliferate means that when you proliferate, every token on the battlefield can be, I can choose which ones, And for every token that exists, I can put an additional token. And that includes poison counters on my opponents. So, and it also includes like the battles and things like that that my opponents might be protecting. So this is another way to push that poison counter total higher, even when I can't do direct damage or anything like that. So that's the backup for the proliferate, or for the poison counters, is to also proliferate. And it makes things go really quick. This will kind of help me push it right over the edge. I've got this is basically I can morph a creature into something else. I could turn one of my own creatures into an insect if I really needed to, or for example, so that the other, so that it would gain this. Or I can turn a particularly nasty creature of my opponent's into something harmless that's out on the field, or something that's harmless against me, that sort of thing. Again, this one makes other creatures unblockable that are power or toughness 1. Got a flyer that's also a 1/1 that doesn't have poison or toxic on it, but it proliferates. I've got root snare in here so that I don't deal like I don't fight other people's creatures with this deck. I'm shooting past. I'm trying not to block and get my creatures destroyed. This just gives me a couple of turns. If I go through like 3 root snares, I've already basically lost the game. I'm trying to win this game in like 5 or 6 turns. So getting everything out really quickly. It's a poison aggro deck. So yeah, this prevents damage. I also use Cankerbloom, which has proliferate on it, or I can destroy an enchantment or an artifact. I'll use this to take out like just nasty enchantments or artifacts that my opponents are using, or if they try to like lock down one of my creatures, put it to sleep, something like that, I can use this to get rid of it. It's kind of this is a great card, 2 mana, 3/2. You can just sit out there and be a blocker or whatever until you need it, and then it's ready to go. Unnatural Restoration, basically it's a regrowth with a proliferate added onto it for free, so I can pull something from my graveyard into my hand. I don't have to use this one a lot, but it's there just in case. And it's a proliferate source, so there's that. Another insect here, I already said that one. Skull Piercer Gnat, I went over this, and then this is my like only bit of removal in here. I don't have a ton, again, because I guess this is technically possibly removal as well. But this locks a creature down and then proliferates. So it's real fast. The highest casting cost in here is this card at 3. Everything else is 2 or 1. Super fast, super aggro. Let's show you guys what a battle against the bot looks like, and then I'll do some ladder stuff in the next video, but I wanted to separate the videos where I explain the deck versus the actual like gameplay with the deck. So we'll see how this goes. This is not a good hand. I have no green. Mulligan. This is better. Yeah, this is a lot better. We'll keep this because I mulliganed. I have to drop a card. I'm going to drop the Root Snare. I probably won't need it this quickly. So first thing I want to do is get the Roach out here so that next round I can start getting poison counters out there. Alright, so here I'm just going to make this one unblockable as is. And you can see here, it puts a poison counter out there, and now it's toxic too. And that will just increase. Also, you can see this one got toxic too afterwards. So, and here is great. I got this card. This one would still be unblockable, but it's already unblockable. I'm going to make this one a little bit tougher since it's unblockable still. And now 2 poison counters come out there, and this card has 3. So 2 more rounds if this keeps up, and they're dead. He's hitting me for damage. I tend to not block. That's why those root snares are in there. I'm going to throw this guy out here. And that was my green, so I can't cast anymore. Go through with this. I could go with this guy, but he's not doing anything. And I'm not worried about 1 point of damage. So yeah, 3 hits, I'm up to 6. Next hit is the finisher. Obviously, this is just against a bot, so it's not always going to work out quite this cleanly. But, I mean, pretty cut and dried. Send this guy, and we're done. So that's the basis of what this deck is trying to do. Hope you liked it. The deck list will be in the description, and I will be doing some ladder plays with this deck in a video to come. Hope you liked it. Like, subscribe, comment, do all the YouTube stuff. See you soon. Take care.